Hey ladies, so I want to talk about something. It's probably one of the most common things I get asked when people are searching for natural ways to deal with whatever health struggle that they have. And probably the second most popular thing I get asked is, Brooke, what can I use to help with hormone function, healthy hormone function, right? This could be anything from PMS symptoms to menstruation symptoms, menopause, premenopause, postmenopause. I mean, hormones start when we're young and they stay with us for a long time, right? And they can wreak havoc on our bodies. So naturally, it's one of the most popular questions I get asked. And my answer, I think, is surprising to most people. And I tell them there are a ton of things you can use to help with hormone function, but the truth is most of the time hormone imbalance is a symptom of something else. So I want to talk about what that something else often is for women, and we don't address it most of the time unless it shows up in other ways. So that is healthy liver function. So we have different pathways. We actually have 4 pathways of elimination in our body. And what that means is everything that goes into our body, whether we're eating it, we're breathing it in, or it's touching our skin and then going into the body, has to be processed, broken down, and then excreted, right? We don't want it staying in the body, especially if it's not helpful. So the way that our body does that is one of those pathways of elimination is our liver. And it's actually our very first filter. So everything goes in the body has to get processed out through the liver. And if we don't have healthy liver function, we can have a ton of problems. And I'm not talking about liver disease or anything like that. I'm just talking about your liver not working at its optimal level. And symptoms of that would actually really surprise you, right? Because we think of like crazy things like yellowing of the eyes or liver disease or whatever that might be, but it doesn't have to be that crazy. And or I should say some symptoms of like your liver not working at its best could be skin, always skin issues, acne, rashes, anything like that often is attributed to the liver not getting rid of stuff. So it's just recycling throughout our body. Allergies are often a symptom of your liver not working at its highest level. Brain fog, depression, elevated cholesterol levels, fatigue, headaches, mood swings, pain, inflammation in the body. Again, things, especially toxic things that you may not think of, they get stuck cycling throughout the body because the liver can't filter them out. It can end up creating inflammation in the body, and inflammation often is a cause of joint pain, muscle pain, things like that. It's also a cause of disease, but I digress a little bit. But when we talk about hormones, what is really interesting, or it was to me when I learned this, and then I love to share it because I was so intrigued by it, and I'm happy awareness was brought to my attention. But when you have poor liver function, it can affect the way your hormones metabolize. And first, let me tell you what that means. So just like our body, we need to, our body creates hormones, right? Whether it's estrogen or progesterone or testosterone, cortisol, all sorts of hormones, right? But specifically like reproductive hormones. When our body produces them, it uses them up and then it needs to be filtered out. Well, what happens is if your liver's not functioning at its highest level, now that hormone just kind of, that used up hormone will recycle throughout the body, and it can mimic symptoms of estrogen dominance. So what that will look like is imbalanced hormones. It will like really bad PMS symptoms. It will be weight gain. It could be sleep, hot flashes, fatigue. There's so many things, but people will think, oh, it's just estrogen dominance. But the problem actually is not. It's that your body's not filtering out used hormones. So we call that hormone metabolization, right? Your body's not metabolizing used hormones. And so that can wreak havoc. And then what happens is the systems that make those hormones think, oh my gosh, there's extra estrogen. We don't need to make any more estrogen. It really can't distinguish between healthy, new, for lack of a better term, estrogen versus used up estrogen. So it's really, really important when, I think for all women, but especially those who suffer from irregular menstruation issues or hormone imbalance or whatever that is, that you start with making sure that you're supporting proper liver health. And I'll be talking more about what that looks like. But I just want to put that thought out there so that you too have awareness, right? When we go to our OB or whatever, and they're like, oh, we'll just take this or this, just take this to regulate hormones. It's not. It's like putting a Band-Aid on it. And sometimes it could be making matters worse in other areas, especially when it comes to like breast cancer and things like that. So be aware that our hormones aren't our base symptom or system. They are regulated and controlled by other systems that all have to come together and work together. So I hope that was interesting to you. If you have questions, put them here. If this was helpful, let me know, and I'll be sharing tips all month long on things that you can do to support healthy hormone function and especially proper liver function, because it's so important, not just for hormones, but that's kind of what I'm focusing on this month. But oftentimes when we start treating and supporting the liver, other symptoms and side effects will go away that you had no idea were even related.